Hey everyone, Sarah here with NDN Collective, and we are at the Four Bears Powwow today on the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Reservation of Fort Berthold. And we're here for a really exciting reason. We're here as a part of a community engagement process. We have a groundbreaking new grant opportunity here at NDN Collective called the Collective Abundance Fund. The grant opportunity is not yet available. It will be available in 2023, but what we're really excited about is that with this particular grant opportunity, there is a huge process of community engagement where we're showing up in communities like this one for the sole purpose of connecting with community and asking people, Indigenous people in North Dakota, Minnesota, and South Dakota, where the Collective Abundance Fund will be distributed, about how they would like to see this fund used. And so this is a groundbreaking grant opportunity, not only because the specific goal is to redefine wealth on Indigenous terms, but because with this particular grant opportunity, Indigenous people get to really be a part of designing this funding opportunity. And as Native people, we don't often see this. I'm a resident of the state of South Dakota, but not only a resident here, but also in my home community, someone who's experienced receiving funding through the federal government, through the tribal government. We don't get a say, but with this particular grant opportunity, it's all about self-determination. It's all about involving our people. So that's just a little bit about the Collective Abundance Fund. A couple more things that are important to know is that you might remember that back in December of 2021, there was some big exciting news where NDN Collective received a $50 million grant or a trust fund gift from the Bush Foundation to basically close the racial wealth gap. The Bush Foundation, not George Bush, but of the 3M company, they basically make Post-its. It was really important to them, recognizing that as a foundation that among Indigenous people and Indigenous and Black communities, that there is this disparity in wealth. And so to close the racial wealth gap, $50 million was awarded to NDN Collective as a grant-making institution who's already done a lot of grant-making work. A lot of you who follow our work might see NDN Collective doing a lot of activism work. We definitely do a lot of activism work. We're on the front lines fighting all the time for various different things. And then we also do a lot of grant making. We fund Indigenous people all across Turtle Island beyond colonial borders, because as an organization dedicated to building Indigenous power, supporting Indigenous self-determination, we know that it has to come, that happens in a multitude of different ways. And so grant making is one of the ways that we do that. And so like I said, with the Collective Abundance Fund being one of our newest grant opportunities, we're so excited about the unique opportunity with this one to do all of this community engagement. So with that, I'm just really glad you're all joining us and really excited to be here. And I'm also joined by Theresa Peterson, and who's also a member of the NDN Collective team. And I'll just have Theresa introduce herself first. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, greetings, relatives. Theresa Peterson, and I'm from the Upper Sioux community, Pajutazizi, Kapi, Dakota, and I'm the program manager for the Collective Abundance Fund.
Cool. We're really glad to be here with you today, Terry, and it's been so exciting being a part of the process of engagement and designing the Collective Abundance Fund from the time of when this award first happened, and then to getting to where we are today, where we're actually in community. So one of the things that I mentioned already is that this particular grant is really groundbreaking and it's unique. So in your work throughout Indian country, you've done work with foundations before, basically organizations who give away money or have grant opportunities. You've seen many different types of grant opportunities. What about this particular grant opportunity with the Collective Abundance Fund stands out to you the most as especially unique?
Yeah, so I'll just say, first that I've spent many years being a grants writer. So someone that's, working in community, trying to secure funds to support our work. And I don't think I can ever recall a time where that opportunity was created by the people that are impacted by the work. And so I was super excited to join the team for this work, exactly for that, because it's kind of like flipping the script, and we get to decide, and that is community self-determination.
Yeah, thank you, Terry. And so what we know as Native people is that our experience the past couple hundred years or few hundred years, we haven't gotten to experience what it's like to determine our own futures. We've had our lives dictated by federal government policy, to where our people may have suffered a number of different, I guess, shifts in our community outlook, our belief in ourselves. But what we believe in at Indian Collective is this idea of abundance, right? And with this particular grant, the sole purpose was to close this racial wealth gap. And so we're really talking about wealth, we're talking abundance. But we know that as Native people, the way that we've historically and culturally viewed wealth is very different. And so this is something that we talked about going into the design of this program, that yes, we're going to be closing the wealth gap, but wealth is different to us. Can you talk about the ways that in the design of this collective abundance fund so far that you've already begun to, see wealth as being different among Indigenous people?
Right. So we talk about things around wellness and being content with our life, safety, having safety. And we are hearing that from the people that are coming in to have surveys, have discussion, and carry their voice forward around what wealth means to them. And they're saying the same things, that it's about family, it's about our faith and culture, our language, it's health and wellness, and being in community. Yeah, so they're really echoing what we, anticipated for this program.
Yeah. So knowing that this process is about redefining wealth, that's why we're here for this community engagement process, in person, on the ground, at a powwow. But can you share a little bit more about the spectrum of community engagement for the Collective Abundance Fund design process? And so you're engaging community so that they could be a part of designing the funds and how they're distributed. But what else besides like showing up here today has your team done to engage the community, Indigenous people in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota in this process?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we took like couple months really just to lay out like how should we engage community. We're all community members. We know how we want to be engaged, and so we wanted to come across multiple ways. So we decided, of course, this survey that we're out here doing, but we also wanted to just be in community. We want to be very transparent. We want to have authentic conversations with folks, and so we have this opportunity to do that in some of across the different places that we're going across Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. In addition to that, of course, we did focus groups and interviews, and those are still underway. We anticipate going to the Lower Sioux Hall in a couple of weeks from here, and then we're going to head out to Siston and go to the 4th of July powwow, and then we're also going to Rapid City for a new event called Native Pop, and that's culture and arts event, and we're really excited to be out in community.
Thanks, Terry. So another unique thing that I'm remembering too about this particular grant, when we look at the whole offering of grant opportunities at Indian Collective, is that this grant opportunity is for individuals, right? Whereas so many of our other grants are for tribes or businesses or nonprofits. But this particular grant is for individuals over the age of 18. And what are the ways that you're anticipating at this point in time? And I know we're still in the design phase where people who are taking the survey are helping to shape what these will be, what the funding can be used for. But at this point in time, what are you all anticipating that the funds from the Collective Abundance Fund can be used for?
Right. So I think one thing I just want to say right off the bat is that, it has been a little bit, I think, different for people to think about for individuals and families, but when we think about our communities are made up of families, and so we want to nurture the family in this effort. And some of the ways that, of course, we'll do is the same, the typical things around home ownership, education, business, those type of things, supporting entrepreneurship. But we want to be really open, and so some of the other areas that we're hearing about is people want to be able to grow their own food. That's about sustainability. That creates abundance for their family. That creates wellness. And of course, we experienced that through COVID, that was a real disruption. And so people are acutely aware, I think, that, food is medicine, and we want to be able to have, our ability to really grow our own food. So that's one way. But there's lots of things, like people are talking about how can we improve our credit rating score. So, we're open to that. If somebody needs a new car because they want to get to work, and so that's about reliability, transportation. We're really open. We're really excited to look at all the diverse ways that we can support collective abundance for our families. Yeah.
Okay, so Collective Abundance is the name of the grant opportunity, and here is one of the cards for the Collective Abundance Fund. It has a QR code on there. So it's called Collective Abundance, and on this card here, you'll see a native kid holding up a traditional lacrosse stick. Oh, a little bit closer. Okay. So Collective Abundance. Can you break that down for us, Terry, in other terms? What does it mean to have collective abundance? Those are some big fancy words. What do they mean in simplified terms?
Well, I think oftentimes we always think in a deficit and kind of a scarcity model. So what's wrong? What's, what really based on the deficit kind of needs, that kind of thing. But we want to have people think about truly what if our best days are ahead of us. And so we want to flip that again to really be forward thinking, to be positive, to think about abundance. And I think it really aligns with our values around gratitude and looking at what are we grateful for every day. And then how do we build upon that? So that's, and then again, we're starting with families, and that goes out, and that's how we create our community. So a collective abundance across our families and communities.
Yeah, community abundance as opposed to individualistic.
Yes.
That reminds me of one of the questions in the survey, and it's one of my favorite questions. I actually took the survey as a resident of South Dakota. And when I took the survey, I actually felt really good. I was really inspired and really happy. I think the flow of the questions made me really start to imagine what is possible beyond scarcity. I think not only because of the historical trauma and history we've endured and the deliberate effort to dismantle our community structures, our traditional governance structures, our spirituality, we also live under capitalism, where they want us to think that there's scarcity.
Yes.
They want us to believe in scarcity because that's how they make us buy. That's how they make us compete. But this is very opposite. And one of the main questions in that survey that stuck out to me was, do you think Indigenous people, or Native people and non-Natives, have a different definition of wealth? So you get to answer yes or no. And then the second question is, if so, how? And then it gives people this opportunity to really kind of think about it and compare and contrast, to really reflect on, according to their experience, how Native people view wealth differently. And it's already kind of implied in the name of the grant, right? Collective. We believe in the collective.
Yeah.
We don't believe in just enriching ourselves. But can you share any insight about how some folks have answered that question in the survey so far, without necessarily divulging any information? So how did people answer that question?
Yeah, people are really saying that there is a difference, first of all. And just a few little areas that they bring up are the contentment piece, and the opposite is that being discontented and always searching and feeling that there is this like scarcity piece. But I think the other thing is that oftentimes in mainstream communities, our wealth is really defined by an accumulation of things. Yeah. And building a nest egg. And I think our communities are really coming in thinking about, their families, thinking about balance, non-extractive, those kind of things. So we can have those things in our life, but it shouldn't be in a way that harms other people or the land, the water, the air, the planet. Yeah. So those are some of the differences that are coming through.
Great, thank you. All right, so let's talk about the survey now. So this survey, this whole table is where we have the survey set up. We've been doing some work on social media so far, promoting the survey, getting folks who follow our social media channels to take the survey by going to our website, going to the online version of the survey. We've got a lot of great responses, but not everybody necessarily is on social media, right? So this is why we're here in community. The survey we have here, we have it offered a few different ways. We have the survey on clipboards here. If you're OG, we got somebody coming by wanting to take the survey right now. Oh, okay. So yeah, while we're doing this live stream, there are people actively coming by, excited about this survey. This is awesome. So yeah, we have the old IHS clipboard. If this is what you're used to and you prefer, for me, I like the IHS clipboard too. We also have the QR codes that we showed earlier, because some people who are super tech savvy and want to just scan the QR code, they can very quickly scan the QR code and take the survey on their phone. The survey takes about 10 minutes, the version online, but little secret for y'all, we actually have a powwow version because we know when you're at powwows, you want to go check out all the stands, you want to go check out that special. So we have because we want to hear from you all, we have another version here that's a little bit quicker, and so we also have a laptop available for you to come take the survey. We have multiple ways, and we can also assist you if you want to bring grandma over and somebody wants to help her or them or whoever fill out the survey. We can do that as well. So you've gotten to see in person people take the surveys. To reflect on the questions, to imagine, being a recipient potentially of this funding. So based on, what you've observed from various folks coming by and taking the survey, asking questions, learning about this funding opportunity, what have been some of the responses so far?
I think when people take the time to really hear what we're doing and what it's about, like it's self-determined, and that they really do have a voice, people are really excited. And I think also just the process that we're doing, very deliberate and intentional, being out in community, we've gotten validated that this is a really good process. So I feel good. I'm excited about all the other places that we're going to attend, and I think the momentum is gaining. I was really excited compared to today from yesterday. So today people are now starting to say oh yeah, I'm hearing about this $50 million and they want to learn more. And so we're getting a lot more folks stopping over. So it can only grow from here. And by the way, Sarah, just to say too, we really have a goal of trying to meet 20,000 people, and that sounds like a really huge number. But when we think about the tri-state area, there's over 80,000 Native individuals over 18. And so we're just trying to reach 25%. We'd love to have more, but so we're really asking people, please come out. We need your voice. We're really very committed to the transparency, authenticity. We want the voices in our community to really come forward. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think some of us were chatting earlier, and we were talking about our own funding, maybe ARPA funding that our tribes are getting right now, or different types of tribal funding where even with our own tribes, we don't necessarily have the same opportunity to be a part of shaping how funding is used, what it's for, how much. And with this survey, people get to weigh in on things like, who should receive the funding, what requirements should there be. Some of the other things that stood out to me were like, what they could even weigh in on what the amount could be. Yeah. And that is phenomenal to be able to design, to really be a part of the design. And so that's what everyone has an opportunity to do. And can you share like other things that, are part of the survey without necessarily giving it all away? But what else do they get to be a part of, contributing to in the design of the Collective Abundance Fund?
Well, I think part of it is like the areas that we want to support, but again, we really want to be open, but this helps us kind of anticipate what will be supported. I think the other things that we're thinking about is, when we ask like requirements or criteria, well, most people are really saying, no, we shouldn't put too many of those things on. People are asking about like planning support. And so I think this is an opportunity, again, to really align with people to think forward. What are they dreaming about? What can really support their own collective abundance? Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and some other things that we didn't really touch on, but they're all around us here. Is there some fun swag and some fun gifts that you can receive while you're here? We have some tumblers for coffee mugs. You can fill those up and hang in there at the powwow. You get your free refills maybe from the casino and hang in there till the midnight specials. We have some drawstring backpacks. We got some chip clips. I wish I had one of these a little bit ago on my break. I was watching the hat and boot special and I didn't finish my bag of chips. I should have grabbed one of these. But a chip clip with a magnet. We got pens. We got bags. And we had a really hot item that disappeared earlier from a lot of the people who took the survey, some really beautiful red iridescent cups that I need to get some more of. We have these little coin purses because we just want to be able to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of helping us to design something that's really unique. And then also anyone who completes a survey is entered into a drawing to win a $50 gift card. So we're trying to, practice reciprocity and make sure that we're honoring your time. It's really important to us, but more important than all these little things too is that you get to be a part of designing this grant opportunity that is really groundbreaking that we hope to see taking place more. All right, so let's talk about Project Timeline. Yes. So we received this big ol' award back in December of 2021, and when the news was announced, I know that a lot of people, some of our own people were like, hey, NDN Collective got all this money. Where's, when are we going to get the money? But there's a method to making sure that we are good stewards. Yes. And being responsible with that funding and not just, throwing it into the wind and let everybody grab a couple bucks. So there's an actual project timeline that lets folks, and this is also on our website, but can you talk a little bit about when the funds will be available and what happens between now and then?
Absolutely. So yes, the funds we are projecting to be dispersed during Q1 to launch the program, Q1 2023, so January through March. And in between then, before then, January through this, we started this process, Sarah, actually in January. And so we're taking this all the way through mid-July, being out in community. And then our great partners, Kauffmann Associates, are really working closely with us. And we will have a summary of what our people have to say about this program. And we have a regional advisory committee, too, that we meet with quarterly. And, of course, we have an internal working group that meets monthly and guides and advises. So we have a lot of people, and everybody that is working on this are from our Native communities. So I think that's an important distinction as well that you don't see with a lot of other funding sources. So we're going to do, hear about the results of that, and then really take some time to make sense of the feedback from the people, the voices of the people. And that will take us, to help us shape the program design. So what will it actually look like? How much will the amounts be? what will be supported, and also just hearing from the other areas in the survey. How will they take the application? Maybe we'll have some community partners, to support some of that as well. So we're really taking some time to do that, and we'll do that all the way in between. We'll have we'll continue to share and update on our website about the process and the information that will be coming out. And then we have to build capacity. It does take some effort behind the scenes to really distribute money. It's actually a lot of work. So we'll be staffing up and doing all the things that we need to get the money dispersed.
Yeah, that's a really important piece, I think, too, because I'm just reflecting on, like, in my own experience in community, in my community and across Indian country, that and even from this moment or this situation, when people learned of this funding, they felt like it was something that can be available immediately, but it really requires, like, there's a bunch of technical things and legal things and ways that you have to be able to plan the distribution of money. You got to think of taxes, like you said, we got to have the team and all of the systems in place to distribute the money. And then could you talk about when the money is, or the funding is actually available for people to apply for?
So again, we'll launch the program sometime between January and March, the first quarter of 2023, which will then basically open up the application process for people to apply. And Sarah, we really do want to make that process as uncomplicated and unburdensome for people as much as possible. So we haven't really planned out beyond that, but we hope to have a quick turnaround. And more of that will be revealed as we continue to lay out our the whole process and the information. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks so much, Terry, for sharing all about that, about the fund and the community engagement process. This is the first powwow that we'll be at. You mentioned Lower Sioux. And the Assistant 4th of July powwow will be there too. So come check us out if you see us. Come say hi, come get a gift, come take the survey, enter your name into an opportunity to win $50, and then be a part of a really important design phase that hasn't been afforded to our people in so many different ways. And so it actually feels pretty dang amazing, honestly, to be able to be a part of designing something and to be a part of something that has been deprived of us, and that is just basic self-determination. And so the survey makes you feel amazing. I felt amazing because it gets you into this frame of mind of abundance and that it's possible, and gets you out of that really unfortunate sort of like programming that has been forced upon us, living under capitalism, experiencing colonialism. And so it's really an opportunity for you also with the survey. And so I hope you all take the survey. Surveys can be really boring, but this one is amazing. I'm telling you, I felt amazing and was even completing it with my partner as we were driving, and it just got us excited. Just got us excited thinking about, like, yeah, what does abundance mean? What does wealth mean? And we started thinking of everything from, like, culture and land and that, yeah, we should be, thinking of this more. We should be, our frame of mind, like, really needs to be thinking this way all the time with all of our resources. So I'm just really excited about this opportunity here. So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to share that you think is especially important as folks are just kind of learning about the Collective Abundance Fund, or considering any questions or even reservations that they might have?
So we have we actually have started getting some questions, and we're starting to post those on our website under frequently asked questions. We encourage people to go there. I mean, people have questions about, like, do I have to have really good credit? And no, we know that our systems have in some ways created those disparities. So we're mindful of that. Just that we really need your voice. This is really truly our opportunity to step forward and really decide on our collective abundance. Yeah.
What's the website?
The website is, just go to NDN Collective and go to our grant making, and then drop down, and then you'll find the Collective Abundance Fund. And I want to say one more thing, Sarah. We will continue to post information there, frequently asked questions, but you'll also then, when we're done with this community engagement piece, that information will be up on our website as well, the report, the summary report from that. And again, I think that's something that's very unique and unusual in grant making, is that we're out in community, and the transparency that we are committed to doing. Yeah.
I'm scanning one of these QR codes right now. Actually, that goes right to the survey. I was going to see if I could pull up the actual URL. But yeah, NDNcollective.org. There's a tab for grant making. Click on that and it'll show you actually all the grant opportunities, the current grant opportunities at NDN Collective, because this is just one of many. We have grant opportunities through NDN Foundation. We have a really exciting new one called the Community Action Fund, and that one, the application window goes all the way into the fall, and that is to fund frontline Indigenous people or frontline actions. So any organizing that you're doing in your community from across Turtle Island, across the border of so-called Canada, into the U.S., down to Mexico and surrounding island nations. We know that our people have to be on the front lines organizing, and to have resources to do that allows us to be there and be present. Right now, Indian Collective has been a part of a 6-week-long so far boycott. We understand the importance of being on the front lines, and we understand the importance of resourcing our people and having the resources to do that. So here today, we're talking about Collective Abundance Fund. Tomorrow or yesterday and the day before, on the front lines. And so we do a lot of this. We have a diversity of tactics here at Indian Collective to build self-determination as a movement building organization. We're so happy to be here at a powwow, visiting with people, talking about abundance and really believing in abundance. I just realized I kind of jumped over some of the other funding opportunities that I want to touch on really quickly as well. We have the Community Self-Determination Grant. That is amazing. Another grant opportunity to build self-determination. We also have a couple of grant opportunities that are for individuals like artists. We have the Radical Imagination Grant, where we select 10 Indigenous artists who are radically imagining the future with their art, and we award 10 per year. And then we have an amazing Changemaker Fellowship, the NDN Changemaker Fellowship, where we fund and support 21 Indigenous changemakers across 21 distinct regions all across Turtle Island, investing into place-based solutions, investing into the leadership of those Indigenous people. And actually, next week, we are going to be having the NDN Changemaker Showcase, where we're lifting up some of the change makers from our most recent cohort and showing the amazing work that they're doing, because we know that there's an abundance of resources out there, and we know that Indigenous people are underfunded, under-resourced, under-supported. And so our goal, one of our main goals here at Indian Collective, is to actually resource our people and to see what we're capable of, because we knew that when we had abundance before, we had community self-determination, we had community actualization, and so much was possible. And we're just doing everything that we can here at NDN to do that, and the Collective Abundance Fund is a part of that. Did I leave any grants out? I feel like I might have.
I think you got them all.
Okay, I might have got them all. If I didn't, go to our website and check it out. Learn all about our funding opportunities. Some of them are available for like a smaller window once a year, some of them multiple months, like the Community Action Fund. And then this one will be available in 2023. And check out some of our other work. Like I mentioned, sometimes our most visible work is the activism work, is our organizing work, which is important. We have 4 different campaigns. We have the Racial Equity Campaign, we have the Land Back Campaign, we have the Climate Justice Campaign, and we also have the Education Equity Campaign. In addition, we have a CDFI, our lending arm, who lends to Indigenous businesses that are sustainable and regenerative. We don't support extractive industry, but we understand that a part of self-determination is running our own businesses, and we need diverse capital to be able to do that. But those are just some of the things we do at Indian Collective. There's so much more. We're really happy that you're tuning in and that you're following our work and supporting our work. And we'll continue to, throughout the process of our community engagement work on the Collective Abundance Fund, be reporting and sharing stories. We've done some really fun interviews today and conversations with some other people here as they're taking the survey and reflecting on the question, what does wealth mean to them? How is wealth defined differently for Indigenous people versus non-Indigenous people? What resources do they need? And so we're going to be doing more storytelling, letting you all know about how this process is being designed. But in the meantime, if you're inspired, participate. If you're inspired Dakota and you're from the regions or the states of North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, who this particular funding is available for, please take the survey. And if you're not living in those regions, definitely share them with your relatives who are there. This is really, really important. But with that, I guess we'll close out for this evening. We'll be sharing more stories, like I said. But thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in and joining us. And thanks for Lorenzo, our Director of Tactical Media, operating the technology there for us, and then for Terry, so awesome, just a matriarch in Indian country. Some of you may know Terry. Terry is a published author. Terry is a beautiful Dakota woman who is deeply connected to community, and these are the types of people who we have leading our work. We're not just, these faceless people who are disconnected from community. We're deeply embedded in our communities, and we care about and love our people so much. And we have matriarchs, just like I almost called you Gabby, just like Terry, we have another matriarch, but that are really leading this work, and we just care about our people. So any last words? I know I asked you earlier for last words, but any last words, Terry, before we close out?
Yeah, just please come and see us, come visit. We want to be in conversation. We're willing to sit down and have conversation, and we can certainly help fill out the survey, but we hope we see you over at Lower Sioux. That'll be in just a couple weeks. So come out and visit us.
Yeah, and Sisseton, 4th of July powwow.
Yes.
All right, well, thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you at our next powwow on the Collective Abundance Fund Tour.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you.